Before we begin, the information provided is for general educational purposes only and is not intended as medical advice. It does not replace consultant with a qualified healthcare professional. If you have a medical concern, diagnosis, or treatment question, you should consult your physician or another licensed healthcare provider.
What is up, Facebook world? Man, I am here with my co-host, the goddess of thunder, bassist extraordinaire, and metastatic breast cancer warrior, Kim Was. How's it going, girl? What's up? What's up? I know. Happy belated Easter. I want to give a shout out to a few people who are watching right now. We got Jen Roper is in the house. What's up? Wanda's in the house. Corpus Christi, raise a roof. We got Slappy in the house. We got Michelle Taylor. Oh, it says no sound, but can you hear me okay? Kim is muted. Okay. Got it. How about now? Wait. How about now?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. That's probably better. And it's funny because every time we start these broadcasts lately, because we're making a lot of changes and moving things forward really quick. As you guys know, this is our latest broadcast called Mighty and Metastatic. It's our third episode. We started in January this year. We took last month off for triple negative breast cancer broadcast. But this is the first time that Kim has actually been in the studio with me. And so she has her very own camera and her own lighting and her own beauty sitting here next to me, which is so awesome, man. I'm so glad you're like in the house. I love you, man. I love you. Look at that. That looks weird. We just like crossed over. It was cool. And so we're doing things a little bit differently. So stick with us. I was having some awesome camera problems right before we started the show. So hang in there with us and please do continue to let us know if you experience any issues. And I'm so glad you can hear us now. Michelle, thanks for pointing that out. And Jen as well. So Kim, man, we were going to talk about like this past weekend. What did you do this past weekend?
Yeah, so Easter was great. Got together with the in-laws, which was wonderful.
Sweet.
So got to spend some quality time with them. It had been a while for various reasons in terms of, my condition. And also got to see my sister and fam and visited with them. So it was great. Really enjoyed it. It was a nice, relaxing weekend. What about you? I know you had a gig and everything.
I did, man.
Tell us about that.
Well, I need to know though. First, did David cook this weekend?
He did not.
What's up, David? Come on.
I know. He cooked earlier in the week, so we'd have plenty, left over, which is great because it's like leftovers they get better and better and better.
Yes.
So we had a great meal: pot roast, mashed taters, broccoli,
nice.
Yum, yum, and my tum. So good stuff.
Yeah.
And his parents made some goodies. So we were able to enjoy that. So it was nice. It was great.
Very cool. I mean, yeah, you were about to bring up because I was in your hometown, right?
Yes, Corpus Christi. Hey.
Corpus Christi, Texas. Went down Friday, did that took the RV. So we took the breast cancer can stick it bus, which is named Pippi after my friend Amy Pippi Boyd.
Is it really?
Yeah, we named it after her. She passed from metastatic breast cancer. I think it's been about 3 years ago now. And so we named it after her and took it down there and did the 8-hour drive, played the art walk on Friday night in downtown Corpus Christi on the street, which was really cool.
Yeah.
Super cool. And then the next night we played in Portland at this brand new venue called Fifth and Elm, which is kind of like a Legacy Hall, Grandscape kind of vibe going on. It was super, super nice. Had a really great time and didn't get home till later in the afternoon on Sunday. So I didn't get to do much Eastering,
That's a long drive.
Yeah, it is a long drive. It's pretty rough, but man. So I know. There's another thing I need to bring up. Right? Is we?
Hello. Wait. Hold on.
What?
It's April, and you guys know what that means. It's April's birthday month. Hello.
It's my month. The whole month. It was named
month.
after me. I wasn't named after it.
I love it.
Yeah, my birthday's coming up April 30th. We do have a couple of events coming out. We want to make sure, I think there's probably a lot of survivors watching the show and metastatic warriors out there. Want to let you guys know that if you want to come see Metal Shop at Sambuca 360 on April the 24th, we're doing a special deal. Actually, one of my volunteers came up with this idea. I thought it was awesome. And she said, if you wear a breast cancer can stick it shirt or you're a breast cancer survivor and let them know at the door, you will get, I think it's like $10 off at the door or something. So be sure to come out April 24th at Sambuca 364 Metal Shop and celebrate my birthday with me. And if you can't make that, the very next night, we'll continue the celebration at Little Elm Park with Just Like Pink. We'll all be playing with them April 25th at Little Elm Park. So if you're into Pink, man, come out to that one too. It'd be great.
Very nice. Both
are like,
awesome bands.
Yeah, thanks, man. I paid her to say
very
that.
Cool.
I'm going to check in here on some people that have joined. Ashley's in the house. What's up? What's up? And everybody's hearing well now. Thank you so much for letting us know. Gingo's in the house. What's up? Jen Roper said, April, didn't know your... No. My breast cancer has not metastasized. So we'll do a brief introduction of each other here. So my name's April Samuels. I am a triple negative breast cancer survivor. I've been breast cancer free since 2010. So I am breast cancer free. And I felt really called to start this broadcast and to do something for the metastatic community. Kim Lusk here is a dear friend of mine, and she's been going through metastatic breast cancer for some time now. And with what happened with Amy, who we talked about a little bit ago, there was just a lot of people around me that were developing metastatic cancer of some kind. And I just felt like, y'all's voices weren't being heard enough, and really wanted to find somebody to champion this and bring, the voice out to the front. And Kim was down. She had this concept for this show, and we put it together, and she's here representing those metastatic warriors, and so grateful that you are doing this, Kim. I mean, it's been awesome, and I think that we're really going to make a difference, helping people.
Thank you.
Yeah, dude.
I appreciate this opportunity. It means a lot, and having supported Breast Cancer Can Stick It for many, many years from the beginning, I believe. And then being diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer back in 2023, and we thought we were done. And then early 2025, I had a recurrence and was diagnosed with stage 4 triple negative breast cancer, metastatic. And they had to explain that to me because the shock of it all. But now I'm better educated about it and didn't really feel like there was enough information out there. Met some other people who, are, we're rowing in that boat together, and, talking to April about it, and really understanding that there needs to be more information. There needs to be, more discussion about it so that people understand and can, really wrap their arms around it a little bit better. And so this is near and dear. And so I really appreciate the opportunity to share my experience and what I'm going through. And I know it may not look like everyone's situation, but I want to do what I can to help others. So I've been metastatic for a year now. And so, just really want to make sure that I'm a giving person. I like to share. So, that's one of the reasons why I felt like this was like the perfect opportunity to be able to do that. So thank you, April. This is great.
No, man. And it's funny because Jen Roper is messaging right now. And this is exactly one of the reasons that we're doing this show, is to kind of get the word out about what is metastatic breast cancer and what does that mean. Essentially, the easiest way to define it is to say that metastatic breast cancer means that it's essentially systemic. It's all throughout your body. It's traveled to another distant organ or into your bones, and basically it's something you're gonna live with for the rest of your life. There's not a cure for metastatic breast cancer, but they have lots of fantastic treatments where people can live long lives and have metastatic cancer. In fact, we're going to be having Rebecca Neal on here at some point, and I believe that she's had metastatic breast cancer for like almost 20 years now.
Wow.
So it's really amazing how far they've come with treatments and things like that. And then somebody was asking about triple negative breast cancer and how that relates, and there's a bunch of different types of breast cancer. There's and they're all related to hormones. So there's
Except for
estrogen.
triple negative.
Except right.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Or
triple negative means that it has no association with any of the hormones, right?
right.
So there's estrogen receptor positive, progesterone receptor positive, there's HER2 positive, and then there's positives and negatives of all those. And so you can have any mix of all those. And if you are negative of HER2, ER, and PR positive, then you're called triple negative. If you're negative of all those other hormones, and that just basically means in triple negative that hormonal treatment will not work for you. So a lot of people that you guys may know who've had breast cancer that were not triple negative, they might be on tamoxifen or some other kind of medication for several years to help treat their form of cancer because it was a hormone receptive. Whereas with Kim and I, we were never on any kind of anything like that. So there's a lot to learn out there, but basically stage 4 is metastatic, and metastatic is stage 4, and it means that you're going to be living with that cancer. And so tonight's topic, I got so deep into this and I haven't even said what the topic is yet, but tonight's topic is going to be about mental and physical wellness while going through metastatic breast cancer and learning how to say no. So we want to basically be able to take good care of yourself. So what do you think we jump right in here, Kim?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that really, changes when you are diagnosed stage 4 metastatic is the fact that, chemotherapy or whatever treatment has been assigned, per your, oncologist, your physician, it's going to take a toll on your body. And it's difficult. And I know it was very, and, I'm just going to speak from my experience that, I'm used to running around stages with a bass guitar strapped around me and just rocking the house,
And yes, you do so well. Right.
Thank you. And, that's my passion, and one of the things I've had to learn is, okay, your body is working hard to sustain you and it's being put through a lot. And so there are physical changes that occur that can be, frustrating. Fatigue and being tired. Fatigue versus tired are two different things. I had to learn that. And fatigue is one of those things that, you can't get enough rest from. You can rest all you want, but the body is going to do what the body is going to do, and you have to learn to listen to it. And so, it's been definitely eye-opening to really see that, okay, I went from being able to go Mach 5 with my hair on fire to,
Valid.
having to slow down a little bit. It's like, talk to me, goose.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah,
it's like,
dude.
come on.
Yeah.
And you have to learn what your limitations are. You learn, hey, based on where I am in the cycle of treatment, I know that this many days out, I'm going to need to rest because my body is not going to want to do anything else but that. And that means pivoting and doing things differently to allow yourself and allow your body to be able to recoup from, the treatment and everything. So that's something that, it's not been easy. I will say that. Okay. I'm sitting here talking to you about it, and it's like, how could she, she's just talking about it so easily. It's taken, some time for me to be able to get to this point because it is hard and it is difficult. And if it's something that you're experiencing right now, know that you're not alone. Know that it's not just you. Know that it's your body, working to fight with you, right? But you just have to pivot and do things a little bit differently. And that may mean canceling plans or moving things out or scheduling time, to rest, whatever that looks like. But it does change the physicality of your body. And that can then, of course, change how you think. That can, really knock on, things like confidence and, being outgoing. I mean, I'm used to being outgoing and go, 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 go. And I cannot do that anymore. There are things that I can do, And I just have to recognize and understand, what does that look like?
Yeah, that's true, and I think a good point. Like when you're talking, I was thinking about one of the examples where you kind of had to say no. You started this new Cinderella tribute band, right?
That's right.
And so you knew from the beginning, it's going to be hit or miss whether or not you're going to be up for playing the gigs, right?
Right.
And you did that debut show over at Maverick and slayed, but it took its toll at the same time, right?
It did. And the thing about that I remember is that there were a ton of bands on the bill that night, and each band played, maybe 4 or 5 songs. And so I was thinking, okay, 4 songs, great. And the first song, we started, I was thinking, oh my, what have I done? I don't know how much rocking I'm going to be able to do, but let's just smile. And
it gave a whole new meaning to rock till you drop.
It did.
Right?
I love that.
I had to do that for you, man.
I love it.
Def
Big Def
Leppard
Leppard
plug.
fan, yeah.
Yeah.
But when I got to the second song, thankfully my adrenaline kicked in. And it's funny because afterwards, several people that know me very, very well, my family, dear friends, told me, okay, we saw it when it kicked in. It's like, okay, there it is, and I felt it. It felt so good. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, I actually feel normal again. Like I mentally said that, and it felt so good. And then as soon as we were done, it was like, someone please come and get me. I don't think I can walk off the stage
carry
by
me to the
myself.
car. Yeah. I mean, it's
Thankfully you were there.
Well,
and several other people were there too, and just you understood it.
yeah.
You got it, and David did too, my husband did too, because he knows, but it's like that adrenaline rush that you get. So, whatever your hobby is or whatever that makes you happy that you get that adrenaline kick from, be prepared, because when that adrenaline goes away,
when it kicks off, you're like,
yeah,
what?
you're just like, uh-oh.
Yeah. And I think that's also a good point, is that, it's so important to stay honest with those around you, your caregivers especially, and your family,
Yes.
so that you can help them set expectations for you when you're going through treatment, and that they can be aware, hey, this isn't going to be the same old. Things are different. I'm going to take things slower and take care of myself,
Yeah, and that was a wake-up call for me. We weren't sure, because it's like, wow, a bass that I used to just run around with, now it seems like it weighs a ton now, and in fact, there was another gig that Shake Me had that I actually had to sub it out.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing is you did the right thing. You recognized what you needed to do, and you had all your fail safes in place. You had somebody ready to cover for you in that case. And I think that people just need to be thinking about that if you're going through metastatic breast cancer and you've got this treatment, and you're just worn down and you're just a lot more tired. You just gotta prepare to take care of yourself first and foremost.
Yeah, you could end up neutropenic, and until it happened to me, I didn't know what neutropenic meant. And basically it means that you are immunocompromised to a point where there's no white blood cells enough to be able to fight off infection. And so you really have to isolate, and not be around people, and, not go and play that gig because of that. Otherwise you risk being, risk infection, and then you have to be hospitalized until they can get your white blood cell count up. And, that's hard. That's hard, but that's a part of it. And, you just have to move the way your body allows you to move. And when it says no, you have to listen to it.
Yeah. And just to speak a little bit more to what you were talking about with the white blood cells, and how they were really low and made you very immunocompromised. Many of you watching right now have either had breast cancer, gone through treatment, or know somebody who's gone through it. And as you know, chemotherapy, it basically kills fast dividing cells, and white blood cells are fast dividing cells. So it it doesn't care. The chemo doesn't care if it's good cells or bad cells. That's why you lose your hair too. That's where more fast dividing cells are, your fingernails, your digestive system, your mouth, all those things. And so that's what can affect making you compromised to illness. Is when you have low white blood cells, and so it's a common problem. But it's even worse for somebody going through metastatic cancer because you're fighting. Your body's got all this chemo coming in that you're having to deal with, and then the cancer itself. So it's kind of doubled up on you a little bit. I have a comment in here. Sorry to interrupt, Kim. I want to make sure I keep an eye on the comments coming through. So Amber Bradley's in the house. She says, I am 10 years this year, and it's definitely something that is never far from mind. Every ache or soreness is always, you are always wondering, is it back? I had a patient ask me if it is true that it is always constant, and I said, honestly, yes. And I know how you feel. It is, I think, for any of us who've gone through breast cancer, we always have that fear of it coming back. I know, Kim, before it happened to you, and you want to take a second and kind of tell everybody, what happened when you realized it was coming back?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, and that is definitely a fear, every little twinge, little thing, you're like, what is that? What does that mean? So I rang the bell in November of 2023, and I was so excited. I was so happy, and to get back to normal. And about, I'm going to say late in the year, maybe around September, October timeframe, I had a numbness in my lower lip about right here. And I thought it was interesting and weird. Oops, hello. Interesting and weird. But it didn't really seem to be affecting anything other than occasionally if it was really bad speech. So I thought, okay. And I went to see my primary care physician. And my primary care physician said, that's a little weird that it just showed up, out of the blue. And I said, yeah, it did. And it's been kind of bothering me for a few months. She said, if I were you, I'd schedule an appointment with my neurologist, which is what I did. And my neurologist then reached out to me and said, and so when I went to see my neurologist, I had an MRI and CT scan. And so basically they contacted my oncologist and sent the results, and then called me and said, you need to go see your oncologist as soon as possible, today, if possible, which was alarming, right? And they said, we can't really give you diagnosis information, but your oncologist can. You need to see them. So I did. And
I can only imagine how terrifying that was.
It really was, because it's like, I felt like my heart was going to beat out of my chest, because I'm thinking, whatever it is, it's not going to be good because of, and I'm glad that they were honest with me. And they were very caring about the delivery of that information. And at the same time, I'm thinking, oh my God, what's happening? Did they find another lump or something, or what's going on? And, I could not have imagined the news that I was about to get the next day. When I went to visit my oncologist, I learned that not only was the cancer back, but it was stage 4 metastatic, incurable, treatable, but not curable. And, once your heart skips a beat and you're thinking to yourself, because all I heard was stage 4. What my oncologist said after that, I'm sure I had him repeat, because stage 4 to me, meant bad things.
Yeah, I'm putting myself where you were, and I feel like it's like death is imminent. It's like, you know what I mean? And that's so scary. And Kim, I just want to point out, we're also grateful that you're here talking about this, and it's very brave of you, and I know that it's helping people.
It was scary.
Yeah.
Thank you. And it's taken me a while to be able to talk about it without getting emotional. It was very scary. You're right. I was thinking, oh no, I'm gonna die. And I actually asked my oncologist, and I really want to share this, April. Um, I said, if I had ignored what was going on with my lip, which they basically told me they didn't think there was any connection whatsoever, and it went away. I keep hitting this mic.
It's okay. Have at it. It can take it.
I asked my oncologist, said there was no connection. They didn't believe there was, right? I asked, had I ignored that, how much time? I said, I'm going to ask the elephant in the room questions, because that's just, I want to know. Don't sugarcoat anything for me. And how long would I have had I ignored that? And he said, probably just a few months.
It's just so scary. I mean, and that's why it's so important to be aware of what's going on in your body. And it doesn't just come, not just as it relates to cancer or anything, just always be sure to get in touch with your primary anytime you have any significant changes that you're like, what the heck's going on,
Yeah.
Are you comfortable telling everybody, because, we're talking earlier about that metastatic basically means that it's spread to a distant
Different
organ
places, yeah.
or your blood or your bones. So it's basically any of those. Are you comfortable talking about?
Oh,
where it spreads to?
absolutely. It has spread to my bones, my liver, and my brain. The major concern was my liver. I had one lesion on my brain, and my liver was just littered with metastasis. And, without your liver, you can't live. And definitely not a candidate for transplant either, because of metastasis.
Yeah, because you have active cancer.
Right, right. And I did ask that question, and they said, you have active cancer? No.
Right.
And so the plan of attack was, we've got to get the metastasis in your liver under control and stable so that it gives you some longevity, because if we can't do that, there's not much we're going to be able to do. And I told my oncologist, you're going to give this all you've got. I'm going to give all I've got. The Lord's going to give it all he's got. And we're going to be a trifecta. And, that's how the conversation, ended. But in between, let me tell you, I fell apart several times. I told him, please don't let me die. You can't let me die. I said, besides, I was getting ready to go to Europe. You believe that? For the first time, and I had to cancel my trip. And I just said, well, wasn't meant for me to go at that time.
Right.
We're going to deal with this and then go from there. But there were, and then to leave the oncologist's office, and then, my husband and I discussing it and, saying, okay, now we've got to tell our family what's going on. And, we decided we split up. He'd tell his family, I'd tell my mom and my sister, and, to have those conversations was very difficult, very emotional, and rightfully so. And, I was frightened. I spent months scared, frightened.
Well, I mean, going back to the topic, I'm just going to tie it in there is, you did at that time what you felt was best for you to take care of your mental health. And that's so important. Like, as far as you were still trying to come to grips with this new diagnosis and sharing it with your family, and you weren't ready to talk about it publicly at all, because you needed that time. And that's just goes back to what we're saying, is it's so important to recognize whatever it is that you need personally, and it's different for everybody.
It really is. And what's funny is, and I say this, it is funny, but my family, they know me, so they may chuckle a little bit when they hear me say this. I thought, okay, you know what? I'm going to keep working. I'm going to keep the day job. And, that way, from a mental perspective, I can keep things normal.
Right, as normal as possible. I hear a lot of
Right.
folks say that, and that they want to just kind of keep cruising along like as best they can. Yeah.
Yeah. And going through treatment and all of that, eventually it got to a point where I thought, you know, I think I need to rethink that decision and just, it worked for a while, but then it started to wear on me physically. I mean, going to work sick, um, you know, doing half days, whatever. And then it was finally like, okay, you know what? It's time for me to start thinking about me. And I ended up in the hospital neutropenic, um, dangerously low white blood cell count,
And this was
and
again a result of the like right after
of the
you
chemo.
got the diagnosis, you started treatment.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So, that happened. And very wise doctor told me, you don't know what's around the corner for you. Um, do you really want to spend the last days of your life working? Think about the treatment that you're going through. Why are you doing it? To live, right? Okay. Then you need to start focusing on yourself, living your life, enjoying it, and remember why you're fighting this. And, because things can change, as you've seen, in an instant. So, that was very powerful. It took that conversation for me to say, he's right. He's got a point. And I decided, you know what? It's time for me to do just that.
I know that in previous conversations that we've had on the show, I've talked about how your perspective, having gone through this or going through this, is something that all of us can gain from. It's so we can all take something away from that. I mean, I feel like we should all be thinking about like, hey, you never know what's going to happen. All those things that you want to do, what are you waiting for? You should be doing them.
Exactly.
Whether it's personal goals or places you want to go or things you want to see or things you want to do or whatever it is. It really helps to gain that perspective that you're sharing with us. I think it's super important for everybody to hear that.
Yeah, dust off that bucket list. Get that
exactly.
china out and use it.
Right.
Get that wedding cutlery out and use it.
Right.
I actually have done that. I've
That's
actually
awesome,
done that
man.
because it's like, what?
What are you
We haven't
waiting
used it.
for?
What are we waiting for?
Yeah, let's
Special
use it.
occasion.
Yeah.
The special occasion is right now. The special occasion is today.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
We had a question in here from Jen Roper. She said, "Did they start new treatment to fight the metastasis in the liver, like pretty much immediately?"
Yeah. The day that I was there and received the diagnosis, my oncologist basically told me, we need to get you started on treatment as soon as possible, like today, if possible. They actually had to go through a vein in my arm because I didn't have a port anymore. My port had been removed because, I was done. So we thought. And so they said, we cannot wait for a port. We need to get you under treatment now.
That's got to be so scary.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's a good question, Jen. And
yeah, thanks, Jen, for the question.
yeah, and all you guys watching right now, shout out. I want to give a shout out to my sister, survivor sister Janine is in the house. Miles Foreman is here. What is up, Miles? Good to see you, my friend. Appreciate everybody who's on the broadcast right now. Please feel free to drop any questions or comments in. We're going to keep an eye on that. Again, the topic tonight is mental and physical wellness while going through metastatic breast cancer and just learning to say no.
I wanted to say hi to somebody too.
Yeah, go for it, man.
I know my mom is watching. My mom is also a survivor, and she's doing great. Hi, Mom.
What's up, Mom?
I love you, Mom.
And
I know my sister's watching too. And so wanted to say hi to my sister Michelle. My mom's name's Wanda. So wanted to let you guys know I love you, and I know David's watching as well, my husband. So hey, fam.
So awesome. You guys, you have such a great family and support group, around you, your family and your friends. And David's been incredible, I know. What are some other times, Kim, like whenever you've been going through this where you're like, I need to say no. We talked about, you quit working, went ahead and retired.
Yeah.
You've got, things set up with Shake Me, your Cinderella tribute, to where, if you're just not able to do it, you have a sub that can jump in for you. Have there been other times where you're like, hey, I got to step back?
Yes. And being the person who, I am, once I commit to something, I like to follow through, right? And I always have. And my situation being what it is now, I've had to pull back, which was really difficult for me to do. I'm not going to say that, oh, I'm over that now and I just, walk away from things. It it takes thought for me even now. So let me give you an example. So getting together with family or even doing, one of these broadcasts like we just had what was it, the
The,
beat?
the triple negative breast cancer
Yes, the
broadcast last
triple
month. Yeah,
negative.
you were going to be a
I
co-host
was
with
going to
me.
be a co-host on that
Yeah.
and had to get in touch with you and say, hey, you know what? Not going to be able to do it.
Right.
Not feeling well. I'm neutropenic. You know, it was hard for me to do that, even though I know from a self-preservation standpoint that was necessary. It's still not an easy thing. I think what I had to do was remind myself not to feel guilty about that and understand that people understand. Like, April said, hey, look, you know what? Don't worry about it. I understand. Of all people, totally get it. Right. And I know that, but at the same time, it still it still made me feel a certain way, like, gosh, I feel like I'm letting somebody down.
I feel like it's really something that your friends and caregivers and family need to be aware of, and we need to make sure that we're supporting you through
Mhm.
that. So if you have somebody who's going through metastatic cancer of any kind in your
Yeah.
life, be sure and show them grace, because there's nothing more important than that person, you know, having the best life that they can, and doing whatever it is that they need to do to take care of themselves. And I mean, I don't even give it a second thought if there's like a show you can't make or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I think it goes without saying that we all support you. And I think it's
Thank
important
you.
that we do that for anybody going through metastatic breast cancer.
That's right. I agree 1,000% on that. And, it's not until, you know, you're going through that, you say you have to say to yourself, I talk to myself all the time, sometimes out loud.
I do too, dude. Good. I'm
It's
not
like,
that weird.
it's like sometimes I'm like, okay, Kim, you're not going to be able to do this. It's okay. You're going to be in bed, and that's all right. It might be one day, it might be all weekend, it might be for 2 or 3 days. I mean, I've had times where I've been in bed 2 or 3 days at a time, and then when I finally emerge, it's like, huh, okay, like today. Okay, I ran an errand, this morning, and let me tell you, after that, I was down and out for the count, and I told my husband, I said, I'm gonna have to rest for the rest of the day until it's time for me to get up and start getting ready, and that's exactly what I did. There was no hard feelings about that whatsoever. It's just like I got to do what I got to do to be able to do what I want to do. And that's something that's kind of been my motto now. I have to do what I need to do so that I can do what I want to do. And there are going to be times where I still can't do what I want to do. So, you know, that's just what the pivot looks like now.
And a lot of that we've been talking about is mostly related to like fatigue and things like that. Can you talk a little bit about like your mental wellness and kind of what steps you've had to take to make sure that you stay mentally well?
One of the things I want to say is that it's okay to have a bad day. There have been days where, I am just balled up, and emotional, and crying and thinking to myself, why did this happen to me? This isn't fair, and allow myself to get that out of my system, and so that I can move on. Have your pity party. That's the thing. I allow myself to have the pity party, but I don't allow myself to stay there. Don't stay there. Think about one of the things, and I'm just going to be brutally honest here. None of us knows how long we're going to be here. We don't know. One of the things that's true also is that none of us is getting out of here alive, right? So most folks are not running around worrying about, when their time is coming. So why should I worry about that? And that's the mindset that I have had to put myself in, but I still have a bad day or two every now and then, right? And I allow myself to have that because I'm human. That's the way we heal when we, mourn our former self, because that's essentially what happens to me. It's like I'm mourning my former self. You're never the same after you've had cancer, right? You're never
yeah,
the
you're
same.
totally right. It changes everything. I mean, I think the biggest thing is, like we said, it changes your perspective of everything, like everything.
It does.
Yeah.
And you learn to appreciate things, like small things. Like I can go out in my backyard and listen to the birds chirp and watch the
dude,
squirrels and think,
I'm a bird nerd.
oh, that's so beautiful.
I know, exactly. I'm the same way, man. It's like if I could just camp the rest of my days, I'd be so happy.
Oh, man. It's just like, I restrung one of my basses one day and it was like, oh, this is so cool. Whereas before it's just like la 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 la.
Yeah,
I'm done.
just having yeah, but you're with your instrument. You're doing that's something that you love to do and be a part of, and just being a musician and doing those things to be a musician. I'm the same way. I'll work on stuff related to gigs and like equipment or whatever, and I'm just like, this is where I want to be. It's what I want to be doing.
Yeah.
So being able to keep that in check too, and doing the things you want to do.
Exactly.
Do you find any other tools that you can think of that you utilize to kind of help keep yourself mentally well?
One of the things I can say is just to stay busy. Like, keep your hands busy doing things. Like I have puzzles and reading books. Okay, I doom scroll too. Okay, I'm just gonna admit it. I scroll too.
Of course, man. Yeah.
And I have crafts. I make cards and scrapbook and, tickle the 5-string, 4-string every now and then. And, I have other folks that are going through cancer right now that, keeping them uplifted and being each other's sounding board and being there for them when they need someone to talk to. Just staying busy for me, has been the biggest help, but also, reading through, researching, and I don't research too much because you can research enough to scare yourself. And I learned when to back off, but also understanding, let me try something new. What is this new craft? Things like that. And then just quietly watching TV when I need to, or taking a nap when I need to. I just pay attention to my body. But also removing the extra stress that I was placing on myself by feeling like I had to explain to people, hey, if I back out of something, I was over explaining it, overthinking it, just taking that guilt and just bottling it up and just thinking about it. It's like, okay, you got to stop doing that. Breathing exercises. I have one of those big exercise balls.
Yeah.
And, one of the ways that I, try to stay limber and, stretch and just breathe. Yoga is helpful. Meditation is helpful. I have an ellipse, which is one of those little pedal things that either you can move the pedals or the pedals can move for you. Exercise, getting some form of movement is very helpful. And then also understanding when my body is willing to do that and when it isn't. But I think that that really helps the mental well-being quite a bit, is getting some kind of movement, whether you're going for a walk, you're stretching, what have you. When you stop moving, you stiffen up, and the body really can't, you know, heal. It to me, and at least that's what I've been told, but it's really been helpful for me to do breathing exercises and just stretching just to feel better. Like I'm still alive, I'm still here, I can still move. There may be days where I'm in bed doing nothing but sleeping and napping, and I allow myself to do that. But when I feel like getting up, hey, let's do a couple of stretches while we're up, and then we can jump back in bed. Just remembering that these things are good for the body. And those are just some of the tools. And then also, there are other survivors and metastatic warriors out there who are helping others by posting their experience. There's a doctor out there that I'm following, just different people that are going through the same thing and looking at what they're experiencing and what they're sharing. That's been really helpful too, from, just from a mental perspective.
Yep, that's good stuff, man. That's a good set of tools. I know that there's several survivors watching right now, and if you guys have any tools you want to throw into the pile here, we can read them up on the show right now, or any questions that you might have. I know you were talking about puzzles. I would just like to plug Legos. Legos are great. Like, some of those are really like intricate. Like, I have the whole like friends like apartments and
Oh, no
the
way.
and Central, yeah, dude, in Central Perk, and it took us like weeks and weeks to do all that, but staying busy like that and keeping your mind busy, I think is really great. So those are some great
is.
things to do.
My mom got me a bunch of word find puzzles,
Oh yeah,
and I love those.
yeah.
And those are great. I've gotten lost, and before I know it, I was like, oh, I've already done 10 of these.
That's awesome. It's like Wordle. Wordle's is fun, a lot of fun too. I love doing Wordle.
Yep.
It's very cool. Well, I think our next show is coming up. I'm going to get the date real quick so I don't mess that up. The next one, we do the show Mighty and Metastatic the first Tuesday of every month. Our next one is going to be coming up, looks like May the 5th. And we'll
that's
have
Cinco de Mayo.
I know, dude. We're going to have to, like,
Awesome.
I don't know, wear sombreros or something. We'll be
I've
like,
got a
hey,
hat
what's
here I
up?
can probably wear.
Oh, there you go. Check it out. Dude, that is rad. I love that. That's awesome. Heck yeah, dude. That's amazing. I'm going to have to beat you up and take that.
Uh-oh.
Hey now. Hey now. So yeah, join us guys on May the 5th. For our next broadcast, Mighty and Metastatic, here with myself, triple negative breast cancer survivor, cancer-free since 2010, and the Goddess of Thunder bass player extraordinaire, Kim Lusk, over here, metastatic breast cancer warrior, teaching us all of her wisdom that she's learned by going through metastatic breast cancer. And guys, reach out anytime. You can reach me through Facebook. We also have various platforms you can reach us on, including our website, breastcancercanstickit.org. So be sure to check that out. And do you guys have any more like Shake Me shows coming up that we need to plug right now?
We're working on additional shows. That's a nice way of saying not right now, but
Not right now. Yeah.
we're working on it. So we would definitely welcome the opportunity.
Yep.
And rock it out to some Cinderella.
And I don't think I can announce it just yet, but I will say that we are going to be having a Mighty and Metastatic event coming up in the late summer.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll release more information about that here real soon, and who's putting that on and everything. So super excited about that. Let's see. I've got a couple questions here for you, Kim. I just noticed.
Okay, sure.
Jen Roper wants to know how you are now. She also asked earlier, let me go back to that question. Sorry, Jen, I saw it here. What is the status of the cancer that has spread to your liver?
Okay.
So kind of give a quick update on where you're at with all of your treatment and how things are going.
Sure, absolutely. So going through a little anxiety right now. So I have my scans this month, but the previous scans showed that the liver metastasis was stable, meaning there was no further progression in the disease metastasis. and that there was some improvement, which is good, slight improvement, which, are some of the things you want to hear. Stabilize,
Yeah, that's
slight
huge.
improvement, any kind of improvement is good. And my
Right.
oncologist is really happy about that. And I had full brain radiation back in July of last year, which reduced the lesions, and there was improvement there to a point where both of my oncologists, the radiology oncologist and my medical oncologist, were both pleased with the results that they were seeing. So hopefully, fingers crossed and prayers up that these scans this month, show the same, if not better.
Yeah. And when was the last time you had a scan?
So I have them every 3 months. So the last scan I had was in, I believe it was November, December timeframe. So I'm due. In fact, tomorrow I've got my brain MRI. Woo woo. And then later this month I will have my CT scan, PET scan. So definitely looking forward to some good news. But the anxiety is real.
It's
there,
man. Yeah, that's one of the worst parts about going through breast cancer is waiting for those test results. It's just unnerving. Hate it.
It really is.
Yeah, well, we're going to put a bunch of prayers up for you, Kim. And I know everybody watching the broadcast right now is behind you and supporting you as well. And we'll catch back up with you next month on the 5th of May when we have the next Mighty and Metastatic broadcast. I want to thank everybody for joining today. And man, Kim, you're awesome. I'm so guys, she's so brave for doing this. And I'm really grateful that you're here to help make a difference in this for people going through metastatic breast cancer, because I know it's gonna, for sure.
Well, thank you for the opportunity, April. I really appreciate it. Love you, girl.
I love you too, man. Are we gonna hug again and do that thing where it looks weird? Look how weird it looks when we hug. Look, it's like we're in there. That's pretty fun. I don't know. It's confusing.
That's fun. Everybody's looking at us like, what?
I know. They're like, what is going on? It's like we're like the Hollywood Squares or something, Oh, we should do like the Brady Bunch thing sometime.
Like,
yeah. Or is it Brady Bunch, I think, where they're like looking
Hollywood
up and down and everything? Yeah, we got to do that next time. All right, cool.
Bye,
May
everybody.
the 5th, guys. Thank you so much for joining this evening, and we will see you guys real soon. Thanks again.